Hi, Kat.
Hi, John.
How's it going?
It's good, man. How are you doing?
Pretty good.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so. I'm happy. It'll be good. So,
Oh, God.
Kat,
Yeah.
what's going on?
John, there's a lot going on right now.
Yeah?
Firstly, you and I are recording a podcast.
Cool.
It's called My Mistake.
Oh, that one. Okay.
That's the one we're doing right now.
That's the only one I do.
That's
Kat.
true.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we're doing that. We talk about mistakes, yours, mine, other people's. Sometimes we have guests that talk about their mistakes. Sometimes we talk about mistakes in history. We call those hysterical mistorks. Sometimes we shoot the shit. Sometimes we talk about bison. Sometimes we talk to Australians.
That's exhausting.
Listen, we have something for everybody.
Yeah? Yeah.
And sometimes we have like crossovers of like we take a little from column A, a little from column B,
Right.
and like mash them together.
Right. And usually by the time we're talking about that, people are assuming that's what we're doing.
Right.
That's not what we're doing today.
No.
Tell us what we're doing.
Ooh. We're mixing it up. We're keeping you on your toes, bobbing,
Okay.
and we're weaving.
We're weaving and also bobbing. I like it.
Chelsea and John would be so proud of us right now.
Oh,
we are.
Let's not talk about the horrible accident they were in.
Okay, well,
okay.
Oh, rest their souls.
We're filling in for them.
R.I.P.
Okay.
John, we have a guest, and we're
Oh,
talking
sweet.
about, right?
Yeah.
You should have read the rundown.
I mean,
We have a guest
I
tonight.
basically show up.
And with that guest, we are talking about a hysterical mistork.
Oh, that is super cool. We have
And
a guest and a hysterical
We
story.
do, and it's very current. It's a very current, relevant topic to things that are happening right now. As we speak, actually, things are about to pop off.
It's a hysterical mistork about the present. I like this. This is an interesting conundrum. I'm down to hear how that works.
Well, I think we should introduce our guest. First time on the podcast.
Laddie Pinn, ladies and gentlemen. Laddie Pinn.
Finn, finally.
So great to finally have you on the podcast.
Oh my God. So first of all, I wish your listeners could see your face, John, when you were saying hi to Kat in the beginning, because you were so creepy.
I don't know what you're
It was
talking about.
incredibly creepy.
I don't know what you're talking about, Patty.
But yes, that was very funny intro. I enjoyed
Oh,
it.
good. Whew.
Thank you. See, another pro banter.
That was pro.
Okay.
That was-
Oh no, I'm saying you're pro, not con. Like you're positive on the banter.
No, let her. She was giving us a compliment, John.
Oh shit! I'm sorry.
Let her do that.
I've never been good at taking those.
Don't correct her when
It's because
she's
I don't have a lot of
complimenting us.
practice.
Yeah. So when is this one airing? We should probably say what day is today.
We should definitely say what day it's today. Have we decided when this is airing, John? I think this is going to be
This
couple
is
weeks
not
out.
yet. Today is May 1st, May Day, International Workers' Day. And this will not be airing when you might think on May 3rd. It's going to be on May 10th.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Well, a lot can happen between now and May 10th.
That's
That's
true.
true.
But I feel like not much.
Yeah.
I think this will still be relevant.
Okay.
Okay.
7
Well,
days.
even if something has already happened, it will just show what Nostradamus we are in knowing in advance. what's happening.
Dummies.
Nostradamus. Okay, shit. You might have just blown my title.
That's
for
a better
this.
title. Just for dummies.
That is great, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to give myself a little
Really,
bit of
give several pats
pat
upon
on
your
the
back.
Come on. So yeah, this is Patty. You pitched us on this. Why don't you tell our listeners what we're going to be talking about?
Well, right now, it looks like the Screenwriters Union, the WGA, is going to go on strike. All signs point to that happening. By the time this thing airs, we'll know whether that happened or not, or I don't know, maybe.
Might be end of the month, right? Is that what we're thinking?
Oh, really?
No?
What do you mean?
when a strike might actually begin.
I would guess in the next couple of days.
Right.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think if it doesn't happen the next couple of days, that means they're coming to an agreement.
Or they can decide to work through the negotiations.
Right.
But I think they'd have to be closer to agreeing on a deal. My everything I'm reading is that they are still very far apart. And so I think again, all things are pointing towards a strike in the next couple of days.
Right.
Okay.
So I pitched that we do an episode about the last writer's strike, which happened in 2007 and 2008. That was 15. I can't believe it was 15 years ago. Isn't that nuts?
Either.
Yes.
It is nuts.
It feels like it was just yesterday. But yeah, that I was actually a writer I was a TV writer when that strike happened. So I lived through that 3 months to those 3 months, and I was like, you know what? Let's talk about that strike. We'll talk about the mistakes that were made in that strike.
Love it.
Very relevant. Got out my pen and paper. Ready to
Nice.
take some notes.
You gonna take some notes?
I might have questions.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I have to point out, I do love that we are recording this on International Workers' Day.
Yeah, isn't that
This
cool?
is a day of recognizing labor.
Sure.
Totally.
I mean, and the deal, the current WGA deal expires at 12:01 tonight. So this could be not more timely as far as
Exactly.
So everybody's pens are going to stop working.
recording. Yeah, they just like
They're
fall.
all going to
like,
run
just-
out of ink at 12:01.
They fall out.
Boom.
They can't
Yep,
even
that's
help it.
So you better use that pen quick, Kat. Actually, you're not in the WGA,
I
so
am
your
not
pen
actually.
your
I
pen
can
will
write
still
all
work.
I want. I can write the fuck whatever I want.
Are you planning on being a scab?
I'm not in a union, man. I got nothing.
Yeah.
I'm just out here winging it. I got no protection. Nobody loves me. But no, I mean, I delivered my last episode of television for this season 2 days ago, so like I'm good.
Oh boy.
So are you like technically unemployed right now?
I'm not. I for the next couple weeks, I'm getting paid to do paperwork very
Oh.
slowly,
Oh,
taking my time. If you know
all
what
right.
I mean.
That's cool.
Yeah, very cool. So,
Yep.
yeah,
But
all
after
the
that,
creative
hiatus.
part, all the creative part of our season is done in the can. See it later. Like, yeah. So we're wrapped for the season.
Good timing. That's good timing.
Perfect timing, Patty.
Yeah.
Our episode airs tonight, so like
Wow.
really good timing.
Cool. Well, I mean, should I just dive in or like
Whoa.
Yes.
what the hell just happened?
Well, my house is haunted, but I don't like to talk about it because John dismisses everything like that.
Is it the Golden Girls? Are they haunting you?
No, they're actually protected from the evil spirits.
The ghost of B. Arthur is with us. She wanders the halls talking about what a cunt Betty White is. Anyway, that's a direct quote, by the way. Do you guys know this?
Oh my God.
It does not surprise me in the
He
least
was-
about B. Arthur.
She was
Famously did not pull any punches.
she was not a big Betty White fan.
Really?
Because she was more of a serious, like she came from theater. She's more of a serious actor. And, Betty White was just a personality who could show up and just hit everything, nail her lines, do whatever. And their
And
processes
she was a
were,
comedian from
Exactly.
jump.
Their
I mean,
processes were very different.
Okay.
She used
Yeah.
to do like 6 days a week. She did her own show and she wrote almost all of it.
She was doing like 10-hour, like she was on TV for 10 hours a day or something. It was
Yeah.
ridiculous. The very beginning of broadcast TV, she was it, man. Talk about fucking winging it, man. She was out there.
It's crazy.
Okay, I just have to point out. I mean, no shade to B. Arthur because I love B. Arthur.
Sure.
R.I.P.
I mean, Maud, right? But
And then there's Maud.
And then
there's Maud. But I just have to say she also was in the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Oh my God.
So
Yeah, she was.
she has no right to make fun of anyone else's acting choices.
Didn't she sing a song?
Oh, she
Oh,
did,
yeah.
man.
Oh, yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
I think it's the best scene of the whole fucking thing. It's so
Well,
good.
that's not hard
You
to
might
do.
be biased. You might.
Not saying
Compared
much.
to the weird like sex contraption that Lumpy is sitting in, yeah, man. I think B nailed it.
Well, if we haven't proven anything else, We've proven that we're nerds. 100%.
Can we just keep
100%.
talking about the Golden Girls and the Christmas one?
I'm saving that for the next time we have no idea what to do an episode about, and I'm just going to let you roll.
Why don't we go back to the topic?
Yeah, let's put a pin in that. Let's go back.
Oh, okay. So it was. I'll just start by talking about where I was in my career when this happened.
Right.
So I was writing for Breaking Bad, and you know, I had just been in Albuquerque for like an entire month, and we finished shooting my episode, and then I came back to LA, and the very next day they called a strike.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, and I remember like, you know, hearing about the pending strike and a lot of rumors and stuff like that, but I was so sort of busy with my job that I wasn't really paying attention to all of these emails that I was getting from the union.
Sure.
I mean, I basically deleted all the emails from the WGA. And at some point, you know, before I had left Albuquerque, one of my co-writers said, would you be our strike captain? Because like every show had to have a strike captain.
Oh.
Right.
And the strike captain is basically just, you know, you're sort of like the liaison between, you know,
Management.
you're the person who reports to all the writers about what's going on with the negotiations.
Oh, so not management, but the union. You're in touch with the union boss, and you relay that back to the other writers.
I don't know if you're in touch with the union boss or if just that you're sort of volunteering to be on top of any
Got
sort
it.
of developments that are happening.
Got it.
Okay.
It's it's unofficial. It's very you're not like trained or anything like that. It's just like you just have to volunteer to do it. And so each show would have like a strike captain that would do that. And
Okay.
so one of the other writers at Breaking Bad was like, "Hey, Patty, would you be our strike captain?" And I'm like, "Sure," not knowing anything about that. I didn't know what that
Okay.
was. I just was like, "Sure." And then I found out that strike captains were supposed to go to some networking breakfast.
Oh no.
And I
boy.
said, "Fuck that. I'm not doing that."
If it involves breakfast, Patty Lin is not in.
Well, if it involves networking, yeah, no, I'm not doing it.
Nah.
Nah.
Not to call you out on an Instagram post that I recently saw, but I recently saw you posing with a mug that said 3 things on it.
That's right.
And the third one was avoid social. Here we go. Read books, drink tea, and avoid social interaction.
Amen to that.
That is
a
a
nice mug.
a recipe for a good life.
I am so not that person. Literally not that. I live for social interaction. Anyway, I'm not you.
Says the man who never leaves his house.
You have no idea how many Google Meets I'm on a day.
He's suffering, Patty. This is been really hard. I'm serious. I know
No,
this
it's
has
true.
been really
It's
hard
true.
for
She's
John.
not lying.
He's suffering. But we get to do this, and yay! Let's talk
You're
about something
a
funny.
typical Gemini.
Oh yeah, that's okay. It sounds. I'll take that in the best possible way.
It's a compliment.
Okay.
They're what's the word? Gregarious and social.
Okay.
That's John Fitzgerald.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's what it says on my Twitter bio.
Word for word.
Gregarious and social. Period.
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 Anyway,
So anyway,
where
you're like,
were we?
fuck that. Not going to that brunch.
Oh yeah. I said no. I'm not doing anything that requires networking. So I ended up not being a strike captain, and in fact, our show did not have a strike. There were only like 4 of us anyway, so we didn't have a strike captain.
There's only 4 of you in that room,
First year, yeah.
including Vince.
Wow.
Oh no, not including Vince.
So Vince and 4 of you guys.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
But so I was like, okay, you know, I came back to LA, and then the strike started, and it was like, okay, well, I guess I'm going picketing now.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Do you have to pick it when
you
when there's a strike?
are supposed to, You know, I mean, no one's gonna punish you if you don't, but they try to scare you into it like oh, we're keeping track, and but like I never saw anybody get punished for not showing up, and there were a lot of people who didn't pick it.
Sure. I mean, the idea of solidarity is a good one, and that there's strength in a union and all that kind of thing. But most unions traditionally were like very like people who worked with pipes and tools and metal and wood, and it's a very different vibe from the social scene of Hollywood writer.
That is true.
Yep.
That is true. I mean, when I first even heard about us having to picket, I was like, really? I mean, it was hard to picture. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for real?
But yeah, so we did it. So I would go to NBC because where the Tonight Show tapes. I would go there because that was closest to where I lived at the time.
Got it.
Okay.
And
it's Burbank, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now it's called NBC Studios, I think.
Yeah, it was
Used to be.
NBC.
I think it's It's been that for a long time. Beautiful downtown Burbank, where they roll the streets up at 9 p.m.
Exactly. So that is the the home of the Tonight Show.
Right. And that Johnny Carson literally used to say that. Like
Yeah.
he said only old people lived in Burbank.
That's not true.
Not anymore.
At the time.
There's still plenty of oldies, though.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I would go, and they had a little set up like in the park across the street from NBC Studios. So there's like that on Bob Hope Drive.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might even be Bob Hope Park or something, but
Probably.
Wouldn't surprise me.
or it's Johnny Carson Park, I think.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And they would have tables set up and picket signs, and you just go there, you'd sign in and pick up your picket sign, and then you just go walk on the sidewalk in front of the building.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, that gets boring really fast.
You don't say.
I've been there.
Wait, did you ever picket?
Oh yeah, like, early on we had an episode where I talked about it, that I was in the Screen Actors Guild when we struck, and we were marching around in, I don't even remember where it was now, but they came up and they were like, "Hey, does anybody here know how to ride a horse?" And I did, but what I didn't tell them is I mostly knew how to ride English. So I ended up, long story short, they took me up to the Sunset Ranch, put me on a horse. I was looking for a scab Lexus commercial being shot on those private roads up there in the Hollywood Hills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Griffith Park, right? It was like
like in the private roads that kind of go off of Griffith Park. And I got lost on the horse, and the horse wouldn't listen to me because I was trying to give it instructions in English and it only spoke Western. So it was a whole thing. I eventually did find my way back. But yeah, I think that was in our.
What does that have to do with picketing?
I was searching for this scab shoot, a Lexus shoot. They shoot up on those roads above Griffith Park.
Oh.
And I had a banner that I was supposed to like block any shot that they were going to make. Ruin the shot. That was my
Okay.
Be on the horse. As long as I didn't, as long as I didn't go onto the road, it was still public property. So
you never picketed as a.
I was picketing when they came by to find someone who could ride a horse.
They had to round up a posse.
Got it.
That's right.
Okay,
a one-man posse.
That's
okay.
I completely misunderstood. Okay.
I mean, come on. That's featured in a classic episode. I mean, we think it is. The horses they rode in on.
The horses they rode.
I
on.
actually
it's like
heard
our
that
fourth
one.
episode or something. Yeah.
I heard that, but I didn't remember the part about the picket
No
line.
problem. We've made 191 is this episodes now, so I don't blame you for not remembering one story from early on.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
horse.
episodes.
It is.
It
The
is.
horse
Congratulations.
Didn't
Thank you.
speak English.
English. It spoke Western.
I love that line.
I wish I would have used that bit
know.
in the actual episode that we talked about it. It just occurred to me here.
We can go
But,
back
yeah,
and cut it in.
let's do it definitely.
And
Nope,
so
not doing
how about you, Kat? Or have you ever picketed?
I've never been a part of a union. I've never been invited.
Oh.
I've always been on the. I am unskilled labor, Patty. I've never been skilled enough to be able to join a union.
You know, they will welcome
Not
you to the picket line if you want to go picket with some writers. They would be happy to have you walking amongst them.
That's really sweet. I'm not doing that. Dude, I'm going to be on break. I'm going to sleep in.
Where is your solidarity with your brothers and sisters?
And get some coffee.
I'm going to ride my bike over to Fox.
Yeah.
Because I live closest to Fox now.
Are you going to picket?
No.
Oh.
I'm going to ride.
She's going to bring them sandwiches.
I'm going to ride over there on my bike, and I'm going to bring sandwiches or popsicles or,
awesome.
Patty, that's so sweet.
Yeah,
Reminds
I mean,
me
that
of
was... Go ahead.
If you can't be an athlete, be an athletic supporter.
So I should... Okay, so I'll go to the Donut Hut, one of your favorite
you go.
places.
Writers love donuts.
And drop... Is that something that would be
Oh,
appreciated?
my God. That would be so appreciated.
Okay, I'm doing it.
Bam.
I mean, during the strike, there were, so many food donations that we got. And, I mean, some of them were amazing, like CAA sent over fresh churros.
Whoa.
Hell yeah.
And Ghirardelli hot chocolate.
Okay. Oh my
So,
God.
I mean,
It was July, so...
No, it was November, but we were having a heat wave, and it was probably about 85 degrees out.
Oh, man.
But I still drank that shit.
Still drank it because
Hell yeah.
Ghirardelli, forget about it.
That's so funny.
And people would send pizzas all the time. And Jay Leno famously walked around on the first day of the strike with giving out Krispy Kreme donuts.
Awesome.
Although I wasn't there for that. But I don't like those donuts anyway.
So
I think they were afraid that the writers were getting too much exercise and they might get in too good a shape and start feeling better about
That's
themselves.
Never gonna happen. But yeah, so the food, we became very sort of attached to certain people and entities, depending on what food they gave us. So like there was this one Teamster's wife who would always give us these great homemade sandwiches, like tuna salad sandwiches, cut with like no crusts, cut into little triangles and like wrapped in wax paper.
That's so cute.
That sounds very non-Teamsterish. I don't know.
It was awesome.
You expect Teamsters to eat sandwiches on bread that's all crust. You know what I'm talking about? These are tough guys. They're like, and gals.
Well, I dreamt about those sandwiches for years.
Aww.
Oh, wow.
They were so good. And then I always joked with my agent about this because my agent was with UTA, and UTA sent over fucking trail mix.
Oh,
What?
no.
Bags of trail mix. I'm like, really?
Fire whoever made that decision.
We're getting like Ghirardelli
Gorp.
hot chocolate
You got
from CAA.
They fucking sent Gorp.
Good old raisins and peanuts.
Totally Gorp.
Thanks, UTA. That's where your money was going, Patty.
Exactly. So I never let my agent forget about that. But
As you should know.
but here was the most, I would say, generous of all of these food donations.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember Drew Carey?
Sure.
Yeah.
He paid for any writer, anyone who had a WGA card to go to Bob's Big Boy, and just anytime you wanted to eat there, you would eat for free.
Wow.
Amazing.
I mean, I can't even imagine how much he ended up spending by the end of the 3 months, because there were writers in there constantly.
I
Just
bet.
living at the Bob's Big Boy.
Yeah.
Notoriously good guy. Only
Yeah.
good things you hear about Drew Carey.
Never heard a bad story about him. Also, I do understand he's a lot more subversive than the jobs he takes. Like he takes these jobs where you feel like, oh, he's gonna host The Price is Right.
Hey, good for him.
No, it's great.
Is
but
he
he's
really?
Oh, yeah.
he's been hosting The Price is Right for like
Oh.
over 10 years. I think.
I never watched that, so I wouldn't
I don't
know.
either.
You don't? That's not appointment TV?
It's not. But this
You
is what I'm
guys,
saying.
come on.
Like little old ladies
Plinko?
are watching.
I fucking love Plinko.
Okay. Hey, I love Plinko too. I mean, I'm not trying to I'll spin that wheel.
good for Plinko, man.
I gotta admit, I tried to one up you by remembering the mountain climber going up
I
the
know.
mountain.
What is his-
and
I
I couldn't
forget
remember
the
the name of
game.
that game.
That's a
Hey,
good. that's a
nothing,
good
Patty?
game.
No?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay.
You've never seen Price is Right. in
No.
your
Did you
30
never stay
in
home
your
sick
20
from school?
21 years on this planet.
Probably,
You've
I
never seen.
probably saw it once or twice, but not any time in the last 35 years.
Well, right.
Wow.
But I remember it from before that, because if I stayed home from school sick, I'd get chicken and stars, saltine crackers,
Adorable.
ginger ale, and I'd
Sure.
be watching the damn Price is Right.
Yeah.
There are better
Right.
things on TV than that.
There are now.
No, there
sure.
were.
No,
Like
there were
what?
not.
During the day?
There were 3 channels, and they were soap operas, and if you were lucky, you got the Prices right.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd rather watch a soap opera than that.
Bah. I mean, all my children maybe, but everything else, no.
Amazing.
All right, we're never gonna get through this story.
So
No,
Drew
we're not.
Carey,
I'm bad.
Bob's
Oh,
big
sorry.
boy.
Yeah,
Got
so
it.
yeah, that was amazing. I still worship him for that because I
Aw,
just
have
thought,
you ever met him? Have you
No.
met him since?
have never met him. I never saw him there.
Got it.
But I know that he footed that bill, and that was just such a generous offer because he knew that people were going to be stressing out about their finances.
Mhm.
So I started picketing, and immediately realized this is going to drive me insane because it's so boring, and then I met this friend of mine who I'm going to call him Teddy.
Love it.
Okay. Teddy.
And I met him on the picket line. He was a screenwriter, but he was like already 40 years old, and he just sold like his first couple of movies, or his first couple of movies were coming out.
I love these stories.
Okay.
Yeah, and just the nicest guy in the world, super like fun and just zest for life kind of guy. And so we just became fast friends, and that made the whole experience so much better because I had a friend, like we called each other strike buddies.
Yeah.
We would carpool there because he also
Aw.
lived in Burbank. So I would go, pick him up. Like, this is how my day would go. I would like get up and I would do my morning routine and stuff. And then I'd have lunch with Mike, and then, or actually, yeah, he was at home at the time. So I'd have lunch with Mike, and then I would put on my red WGA strike shirt. And then I would, head out, and Mike would go, "Stick it to the man, sweetie."
It's a great day to fight the system.
And then I would drive over to Teddy's house, and I'd pick him up, and he would, without fail, be late.
Cool.
And I actually found out that he got fired from his barista job at Pete's because he was chronically late. You got to be late a lot for that to happen.
This is a writer's, like, I love this as a story for a writer, a background story for a writer.
Yeah, so then we would go over to NBC Studios, and we would start picking. Our shift was from 2:30 to 5:30, and we would go there most weekdays. And and talking to him was probably the only thing that got me through that whole thing. I mean, we met other people, and and that's the thing, is that the strike, as stressful as it was like one of the few times that I actually felt a sort of palpable camaraderie with other writers, other than like, people that I directly worked with. There was nothing like this before, where all these writers just had to come out of their hovels and like kind of interact with each other. And then you ended up like meeting a lot of cool people and having this like great camaraderie. So that was kind of a big upside to it.
Sure.
But one of the down, like sort of like flip side of that was that there were a lot of people that you didn't want to talk to.
Oh yeah.
So like a lot of aspiring writers would come out to the picket lines, and they would try to network.
Sure.
And
same thing on the SAG line. It's like the known names didn't really come out. Because they're like, oh God, everybody's gonna. How can I get a leg up? How can I get it?
I know.
Gross.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so gross. It's tacky.
Mhm.
It's just tacky, and on top of that, it's like it's just unfair because we're standing out there on the sidewalk. It's sort of like we're easy targets, like
Right.
you can't just like ignore someone's email or something. Like you're like standing there, you're physically standing there.
Oh no.
So that was really awkward at times. And there was this one guy that he was this aspiring writer, and he was definitely a little bit nuts. And
Sure.
I got to give him a fake name. What do I call him? I'll call him Damien.
Perfect.
Oh.
Okay. So this guy Damien, he was like middle-aged, if not older. And he would come to the picket lines and he was, talked about his screenplay that he was writing or whatever, and like would try to, meet other writers. But he was just like, he was obsessed with Diablo Cody. Do you guys remember Diablo
Uh-huh.
Cody?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
Didn't she do Juno?
she
No.
wrote, yes, she wrote Juno.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hmm.
And she's written other things since then, but Juno was her big,
The breakout.
yeah, that was the thing at the time. And this guy, Damien, was obsessed with Diablo Cody, and he would walk around with a sign, and it wasn't even a picket sign. It was just like a cardboard box
Oh,
that he had
no.
like, painted
No.
on. It was like a piece of cardboard that he had written on with a marker. And,
Mhm. Yeah.
and it said, it was like, the 8 things I have in common with Diablo Cody.
Oh, he's a stalker.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. In fact, we called him the Diablo Cody stalker. And
That's really disturbing.
DCS.
totally.
Hey, it's DCS.
I don't know. It's weird that he would pick 8 things instead of like 10.
I mean, like he couldn't find a 9th or a 10th.
Yeah, but like
apparently.
I don't
That's
know.
the-
8's a
You go
weird number.
5 or you go 10.
Exactly.
You don't
Right.
go 8.
Exactly.
Amateur.
Help me out, both of you. The guy who used to drive around in the car saying he was looking to make it in Hollywood, Dennis.
Oh,
No.
I forget.
What?
I mean, him and Angeline were like the when I moved to Hollywood in 1996. Dennis. Oh man, that's crazy. He had a different car, like an art car, all the
He had
time.
an art card, bunch of shit all over
Oh
it.
yeah.
Yeah, he'd have his headshot on it
Yeah.
and a phone number.
But I forget his last name.
I think
Yep.
I think I remembered that guy.
Yeah, he thought his big break was going to be in one of those. Like, remember there was a little rash of like disaster movies where they would use Hollywood, where like the Angeline billboard would be on fire, and Dennis Woodruff.
Good
is his
pull.
name. And yeah, thank you. And he thought he was going to have a part in the movie, but they only wanted his car. They showed his car like fall into a sinkhole. And-
Yeah, you still get paid for that though, right?
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But it was not his big break.
Right.
Because he was crazy.
Yeah, this dude was crazy too. I don't know what he was trying to achieve. I mean, I think he was trying to be a writer. I'm pretty sure I
Sure.
heard him talking about scripts that he wrote, but mostly he just wanted to fuck Diablo Cody. So,
Oh, okay.
but yeah, so there just coincidentally, one of the people that I became friends with, and would picket with, was this woman who I'll call her Nadia.
Oh, okay.
She kind of looked like Diablo Cody a little bit. Like she had a dark page boy haircut, like Diablo Cody. It was like the same haircut.
Okay.
Other than that, she didn't really look like her that much, but the hair was very distinctive. And so oh, you're texting me.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
I didn't mean to distract you. I
Okay.
just sent you a link to Dennis Woodruff on Wikipedia.
Okay, I'll look that up later.
Later,
Yeah.
after. I'm never going to do that again.
So Nadia looked kind of like Diablo Cody, and so we decided that one day we were gonna play a little prank on Damien.
Oh, no.
And all it took was my friend Teddy going up to Nadia and acting all starstruck and going like, "Oh my God, I love Juno so much," and so immediately Damien was just like on her, like totally on top of her, and like trying to chat her up and stuff. And he kept going. Like he was talking to her for like a good 5 minutes or something. And finally she goes, "Oh, by the way, I'm not Diablo Cody."
I want to say that he's a bad stalker if he didn't
Right?
even know.
Oh,
that-
he's a terrible stalker. He was,
right. He's not even good at that.
he was a terrible stalker because like the 8 things that he had on that sign weren't even accurate. Like one of them was, that they grew up in the same place, and it wasn't even the place that she grew up in. Like,
Oh, wow.
it's like, do your research, dude.
Yeah, he was doing his own research in his head,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he had decided that they had a lot more in common than.
Well, after he found out that Nadia was not in fact Diablo Cody, it didn't stop him from talking to her. Like he kept going. Like he kept bugging her. So
The closest he's gonna come to Diablo Cody. So he's got to shoot your shot, Patty.
That's right. That's right. If you can't be with the Diablo you love, honey, be with the Diablo you're with. I believe someone said that.
I've always
at
said
some point.
Oh God.
good advice.
So let's see, what else should we talk about? We talked about the food.
Got the food, yep. Got the
Right.
stalker.
Yeah, so we had so these picket signs,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the picket signs had a big blank spot on them where you could write stuff. And and so, writers need a creative outlet. And
For
when
sure.
you stop them from working, then they have to let it out somehow. And
Sure.
so people started like writing the funniest shit on these picket signs. And my favorite one was somebody wrote, "And while we're at it, better notes."
Never, Patty. It didn't work because I can tell you what.
It didn't
We're
work.
getting those shitty notes.
By their very nature, you've got people who don't write and don't understand how shit works, telling people who understand how shit works why they're wrong.
Yep.
Notes are always going to suck.
Death, taxes, shitty network notes. That's
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
gonna be a constant.
It's like have you ever seen The Player, that
Yes.
that Altman movie? Love that
Yes.
movie.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
So my favorite line in that movie is when Tim Robbins, who's the movie executive, is
Mm-hmm.
like he's like talking to the writer who he thinks is fucking with him,
Yep.
and who was played by a young Vincent D'Onofrio, by the way.
Right. And it
Ah.
was Killane or what was
Kahane.
Anyway,
Kahane. His character's
Kahane.
name was Kahane.
Kahane. Yeah.
David
that's it.
Kahane. So
Yep.
so the movie executive is talking to the screenwriter, and the screenwriter, and they're like getting into an argument, and the screenwriter says to Tim Robbins, "I can write. What can you do?"
Yep.
Anyway, so yeah,
Kind of
so,
says it all.
But
But you would expect the best signs to be at the WGA picket
Sure.
line, right? Like you got a bunch of really funny, talented people.
yeah,
They better be good. They have
I
to
would
be good.
think.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
it is. There was a little bit. I think there was a little bit of competition going on with the
course.
picket signs and the yeah. So my best one was there were eventually, as the strike dragged on, they started canceling writers' development deals, and
Ooh.
they did it under this clause called the force majeure clause. And that's a clause in the contract that essentially says that if something unforeseen happens, like a natural disaster,
Right.
then they can let you out of your contract without any penalties. And so the studios, the producers, they were trying to argue that this strike was a force majeure event, and that they could just drop writers' deals,
Right.
which was just the shittiest underhanded practice. Like it's terrible.
It's
Yeah.
dirty.
This is strike breaking 101. Like start punishing people and then everybody will get afraid
Exactly.
and cave. Yeah.
Yeah. So I made a picket sign that said "force majeure this."
Nice. That's pretty good.
Well,
And it was so inside that no one understood it except, I mean, we're like only the writers understood it, you know? And like there was this some like just random woman who was walking by and she's like, saw my sign. She's like, what does that mean? And then this other writer who was like next to me, like explained to her what it meant. And he goes, it's actually kind of clever. And like,
oh, that's so kind
and
of
the
you.
way he said it was just, it was so obvious he was a comedy writer, you know, because he had that like bitterness.
Uh-huh.
Like,
It's actually funny.
yeah, it's actually
it's-
funny.
It's kind of not okay when someone else says something funny, so you have to not laugh but say it's funny.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, lady, this isn't for you, okay? Keep walking. Let's go. Go, go,
for
go, go,
you.
go. Bus stop is down there. Let's go.
We're just trying to amuse ourselves here.
Right.
Exactly.
But yeah, and then we also did chants for a while.
Fun.
Oh boy.
So you know, it started off with the very standard writers united will never be
You'll never be
divided.
divided. Uh-huh.
Sure.
And we chanted that for about 15 minutes. It was just like,
I got sick of it.
God. Yeah, and they handed in the beginning, they would hand out these, I don't know, like these like cheat sheets almost. And it had and they would have chants written on them, right?
Oh, wow.
You know, so that you wouldn't be like stumped by, you know,
Yeah.
like, oh, I can't come up with a chant. So they had like the standard chants on there, and then it said, I remember like specifically it said on the bottom, like in, you know, like in small letters, repeat while energy stays high.
Oh my God.
My God.
And I'm like,
There's
that's not long.
stage direction. There's
Yeah,
stage
exactly.
direction on your. Were these things laminated? I need to know.
No.
Were they- okay.
But
Incredible.
I do remember that, you know, SAG, God bless them, they were totally supportive of the strike. Like they were the only other union that really stood by us,
Right.
because the directors were like, fuck that, we're gonna negotiate our contract, we don't care what you get.
Yeah.
And the Teamsters hated us because they thought we were, you know, making them suffer, because we kind of were. But I mean, so SAG was really the only ones, the actors were the only ones who said, yeah, we're with you. We're going to show up and picket with you, and we're going to
Awesome.
do all this stuff. So I thought it was great. I was very happy that actors would come and they would picket with us. But there was one time when we were picketing with a bunch of actors and we were doing the Writers United Will Never Be Divided chant.
Mhm.
And they kept getting it wrong.
Oh, no.
They kept saying, writers united will never be defeated. And Ted,
Oh, isn't that just like an actor to
Come on,
take
man.
to take your beautiful structure of words and just destroy it with a sledgehammer?
I
You gotta be
know.
off book. You gotta be off book. when you're
Oh
on the picket
God.
line.
I mean, Teddy and I were dying. We're trying, we kept like raising our voices to try to like get everybody back on track, but it was
Right.
not working.
Oh,
And we
no.
were just laughing about it. Like, this is why you don't let actors write their own lines.
There you go.
Defeated doesn't even rime with, it doesn't even kind of rhyme with divided
Nope.
or
Nope.
united.
Not even a little.
Oh, no.
Anyway,
can you drop any names of any actors that showed up to picket? Not the ones that were dummies, but the ones
I don't.
that were,
I don't remember the dummies.
Good.
But there were a lot of pretty big name actors who came to some of the rallies. Not so much the day-to-day picketing,
Got it.
but whenever there were these big rallies, a bunch of actors would show up, and I remember Robert Patrick was there at
Oh.
one of them.
Sure.
Looking.
This was not too far after Speed, which was a huge. Am I right? Right. Robert Patrick, yes.
Robert Patrick was the Terminator 2. He was
Oh,
T2.
yes.
Who am I thinking who was in Speed?
I know who you're thinking of.
Yeah, Sean Patrick? No, I don't know. My bad. Completely. Please edit this out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love him. T2. Get out of
Oh
here.
my God! And he was
Liquid Metal dude?
and he was on the X-Files.
That's true.
Yep.
He was Agent Doggett.
Yeah.
Special Agent Doggett of the FBI.
Nice.
I mean,
X-Files division.
Look, he didn't stand a chance because you can't follow Duchovny,
no.
right? But so it was stacked against him, but he still did a great job.
I thought he was great.
You know, if he wasn't following in Duchovny's footsteps, like he would have just been like awesome.
Yeah. And,
Oh, yeah.
Annabeth Gish, is that who's the new Scully? Yeah, they were great. I love them. They're cool, man. Not their fault.
You know, that's funny. I was just wondering what what's her name?
Annabelle or Annabeth?
Annabelle.
Is it Annabelle? Annabeth? Annabelle?
Annabelle.
Annabeth Gish.
I was just talking about Annabelle Gish because Mike and I just saw her in Succession.
Oh, good for her. That's great. That's huge.
Yeah.
That's great.
I immediately remembered her name, and I was like, I couldn't remember what she'd been in.
Yeah.
By the way, we're wrong, and she was right. It's Annabeth.
It's
Gish.
Annabeth?
Oh, I'm sorry. Was I right about something?
You totally were.
Fucking red. What's it called? When you get red light? No, you're getting red. Fuck! I just ruined everything. you're red. No, you're not red lighting me. What are you doing?
Gaslighting?
You're gaslighting me on my own fucking podcast. Get out of here.
Hey, it's my podcast too.
Okay, well,
And
you were
really,
redlighting me on our podcast.
It might as well be. Might as well be Patty Lynn's podcast.
Yeah, exactly. I wish it were.
Anyway, so we're way off track. So Robert Patrick.
What are you?
We are never diverging
What are you talking about?
from our storyline. No.
Marg Helgenberg. Is that how you say her name?
Yes, Mark Helgenberger.
Yeah, Berger. Yeah, she was there.
I love that woman.
Viola Davis came and gave this like rousing speech.
Oh, I
Amazing.
bet.
Oh my God, rousing.
Love that.
Let me think. Who else? Oh, Jack Black. Tenacious D performed at one of the rallies.
Holy
That's
crap.
cool.
That was so fun because
They're the coolest.
They did this
I love
song that was called "The Government Totally Sucks."
Yep.
Have you heard that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've actually seen them. I saw them live in 1997.
Oh my God.
Like before anybody knew who they were at Billboard Live,
Oh.
which isn't a club anymore.
Wow. Okay.
On Sunset Strip. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Kyle Gass and Jack Black, amazing
So
performance.
funny. Yeah, so they did that song, and that was great. I'm trying to think of like who else. What other? I mean, Justine Bateman came to one. That was kind of cool.
Oh, that's
Cool.
fun.
Yeah, and then the guy who ended up being my strike captain I saw him talking to her, and I was like, holy shit! Like, are you not nervous to talk to Justine Bateman? But he wasn't.
Did he know who she was?
Of course he did.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Justine and Jason, I know they're brother and sister. They're not twins, right?
No.
He's older, I think. Or is she older?
She's
oh,
older.
she's older.
think
Oh,
she's
okay.
Yep.
Got it.
She's super cool.
Oh,
Oh.
good.
Yeah,
I'll bet.
Very,
Glad to
very
hear that.
cool.
She's left. Like, she's gone, right? She left the business not long after.
I think so.
I feel like in the 90s. She
Well,
was just
she's
MIA.
done some stuff. Like I saw her in this one Showtime series. It was like a very short, just sort of a mini series type of thing.
Limited series.
And
yeah.
limited, yeah. And she was great in it's a great series if you ever find it. I don't know if it's still on Showtime, if it's still available on Showtime, but it was called Out of Order.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
And Eric Stoltz was the star. Eric Stoltz and Felicity Huffman were the stars.
Oh,
And Justine Bateman is in it, and it's really interesting.
okay.
It's about
Back in the day.
Check it out.
Go ahead. It's about this.
It's about this married couple who are based on kind of loosely autobiographical, is based on the writers of the show, who are a married couple, and they are also writing partners. And so, but I mean, in the show, it's, there's infidelity but it's done in this affair that he has is like done in a really interesting way, with voiceover and fantasy sequences and stuff. And when I say that, it sounds kind of cheesy, but it's not cheesy at all. It's really done well.
I love voiceover and fantasy sequences. Yeah.
They play
That sounds
they
fun.
play a
Okay.
lot with the form,
Mhm.
but also the acting is just fantastic. And there's drug addiction in it, and it's fantastic. You should watch it if you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love it.
I just did. There are like 3 thoughts real quick that I have to go through because this happened. First of all, when I was younger, I used to get mistaken for Eric Stoltz.
Right, 'cause
He
you're a
has
ginger.
Right. He has aged better than I
Yeah,
have.
you ginger.
Yeah. So That's one thing. The other thing is, did you know that Eric Stoltz was the original Marty McFly?
Yes,
back
we've
then.
talked about
Yeah.
this.
Right.
Reshoot all this shit.
Right. But
Sorry,
then
buddy.
the one who replaced him was
Michael J. Fox.
Michael J. Fox, who was in the show Family Ties, whose
With
sister was
Justine
played by
Bateman.
Justine Bateman. Bam. That's where my head
Nice.
just went.
I mean,
Nice job,
they all know each other. I mean,
Yeah.
all those folks from the 80s, right?
Yep.
They do.
They're all friends.
They're all friends.
They know what's up. They're all a big brat pack.
Yeah.
So yeah, so like I'll tell you the most fun one of the most fun days that I had at the strike was when we did a rally on Hollywood Boulevard. And so I mean any rally at all was like a big deal because it would break the monotony of just
Sure.
like the daily picketing. So we'd always get really excited about the rallies because it was like a field trip, And and then there was one time where John Edwards came to a rally at NBC.
Okay.
And this is like right before the whole scandal happened.
Ooh,
And so
awkward.
it was
Yeah.
still like people were excited to see him still.
People still liked him.
He was kind of like an RFK figure for a
Yes.
little bit there until you found out just what a
Yeah.
piece of crap he was.
He
Yeah.
had some heat.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
Yep.
But anyway, so there was one day, the best rally I think was the one that happened on Hollywood Boulevard, and we started at like around, I guess it's like around Vine, where the L. Ron Hubbard exhibition is or whatever it's called.
Sure.
Well, are you talking about where the Christmas one is, or the?
It's called.
'Cause
It's like
they-
it's the Life Exhibition Building.
Oh yeah, they own like 3/4
Oh, yeah.
of the buildings on Hollywood Boulevard. Yeah. Yep.
So that's one of them, and that's kind of where we started. And they cleared off the whole street for us.
Oh, cool.
They closed down the whole street, and so we started there. And there was like a little, performance. I think Alicia Keys came.
Oh wow.
Here's what you should know about Alicia Keys.
Please.
She will do any event.
This is good. I'm gonna write that down.
Just call her. She'll fucking do
My
it.
birthday's coming up, Alicia Keys.
This is good info. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
She'll do anything.
She's great. She's a great singer. She plays piano well, but
Oh no.
she will do anything.
Well,
I honestly don't even think she knew what she was playing at.
Oh
No.
no.
she may have had a very listen. There are people who do this, like, and they're some of them are great artists, and they're just like they will. Is there a paycheck? Yes.
Yeah.
Bryan Cranston, star of the show for which you were writing at that time, is famous for. He's like, I'll accept if I have the time on my calendar and it pays. I will accept it.
Yeah, didn't he like do Rolaids commercials at one point?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, he appeared in his tidy whities on Malcolm in the Middle. How many times? I don't even.
Oh my God! Can we just get off the topic for 1 second?
Yeah.
I mean, I think I'm already well off it.
Yeah, I just the this whole thing of like celebrities, doing commercials back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It just made me think of. I just saw recently, like a reel of old commercials, like from the 80s. This is like this is one of the weird things I like to do. Is I like to watch old commercials on YouTube. Like from the 70s or 80s. I just love that shit. So
It's great.
So I was
Because they're all fucking crazy.
yeah.
And they're all in awful condition. Like they're
Yes.
hard. You
Yeah,
you
it's
might
a
as well
rough.
be watching porn through a scrambler, but still, it's kind of great.
Right. So one of the commercials that I saw recently was it was for Campbell's Soup, and it had Becky Ann Baker, who played the mom in Freaks and Geeks, and she also played the mom in Girls, and the other actor was I think it was John Turturro. I'm pretty sure it was John Turturro.
Okay.
Okay.
And it was the two of them playing cops. And they're like sitting
Sure.
in the front seat of a police car, and they're like on a late night like stakeout or something, and they're eating Campbell soup out of a thermos.
Sure, yeah.
Oh wow,
As
sure,
you
why
do.
not? And
People do that.
Yep.
Oh god. But I was like, holy shit, like, oh my god, they, these are like big stars now,
Yeah, that is fun to see who
Yeah.
who pops up when you watch those old things.
Right.
It's really fun.
I love the. Did you ever see the commercial for VW that oh my gosh, Tootsie, help me, Dustin Hoffman. He did a television commercial for VW, like in the late 60s.
Oh yeah, it's famous.
Yeah, I think it is now.
Yeah.
Because I said that.
No, it was famous before you said that.
Okay, fine.
Wow,
Agree to disagree, Patty Lin.
such power.
Anyway, so
Yes, please answer this question for me.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You're gonna break my heart if it goes a certain way. Bryan Cranston, good guy.
yeah,
Okay, good.
really good guy.
Yeah,
I decided that when I saw him on Hot Ones the last time. He's been on
it's
twice.
a great
now.
episode.
Yeah.
He's a good
What's
dude.
Hot Ones?
Holy what?
Oh, is that the one where they eat wings?
Yes.
Okay.
It's really fun.
Yeah,
It's good.
I've seen that.
Okay.
It's really fun.
I haven't seen him, but I've seen other people.
You gotta see them all.
Yeah.
It's like
but
Pokemon.
It's fun.
I let me tell my Bryan Cranston story.
Oh,
Okay.
hit it.
He and I worked together on a show called Sneaky Pete. It was
Nice.
season 3. It was the worst season. Not my fault. And he was an executive producer at that point. His character was off the show, but he helped to develop it, and he was still an EP. So we'd send him cuts, and he'd have a lot of he'd have notes, good notes.
Right.
And he was on Broadway. He was starring on I think it was like Death of a Salesman or something. He was starring on Broadway. He would call in his notes standing off stage, about to go
Oh
on.
my god.
And he was
Wow.
like, no, I just want to make sure I make time for you guys,
What a
Here's my
pro.
note." Incredible guy.
Wow.
So I'm glad to hear that, because I only know him over the phone and on email. So I'm glad to hear.
I
he's a good
mean,
dude.
just from that though, you have to.
Yeah.
I mean, what a pro.
Impressive
Right?
guy.
That's.
Yeah,
I
very
mean,
cool.
I love that. I love it when somebody who is successful is actually, is not only a nice person, but like you can see how professional they are.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Jennifer Aniston, say what you want about her, but she is a fucking pro.
Oh yeah.
She shows up on time. She works. She does her work. She does her homework,
Okay.
and she never messes up. If she messes up, she recovers immediately, and she wears fucking high heels when she doesn't have to. Most actresses will take their high heels off the minute they, the cameras stop rolling. She's like, no, I'm walking around with these 4-inch heels on because I'm a pro.
This is
Work ethic.
twice that she has been praised on this show. If you listen to the Mad Canadian with Matt
Oh
Cooney,
yeah.
he has a story about
Yes.
how
Oh,
they
That's
hung out.
right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. When he
Nice.
was
He was trying to hit on her though. Kinda.
I mean, wouldn't you? Maybe not. I don't
Gotta
know.
shoot your shot.
Oh, okay. Interesting choice of words. All right. Anyway, yeah, no, Cranston was really cool.
Good.
He
Glad
and
to
I
hear it.
actually played poker once.
Nice.
I think it was just once. And
I would love it if you said, and he still owes me money. That would be my favorite.
no, but I did win. I won the game. At the time, I was a pretty good poker player. I was pretty practiced at it. Now it's been a long time since I've played.
I did not know this, and now I'm going to put together a game.
Oh, dude, if you want to play poker, I am so there.
Yeah.
I loved poker. I mean, the thing that I love about poker is just the sitting around bullshitting.
Yeah.
Like I don't
Table
go,
talk, baby.
Yeah, I
Table
don't
talk.
go to Vegas and play poker because like you don't want to talk to those people. But if you're having
I do.
a game of poker, with your friends, like it's the best.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so that at the time I would play poker with my friends, like probably about once a month or something. So I was pretty decent at it. And then I found out that Cranston played poker, and like we just one night we played poker with Aaron Paul and
fun.
and the
Get
director.
out of here. Get out of
Jester
here.
Pinkman.
This is a good story.
And the director she was this really cool woman, and so we played poker at Cranston's room, his like hotel room, and I won. I ended up winning like a couple of $100 at least.
Did you play tournament style, so winner take all, or?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I remember Cranston did not look happy that I won.
Oh no!
I think he was not expecting me to win the game, and he was kind of annoyed.
It's like, oh, no, I was supposed to
Good.
take your money. What happened?
Yeah.
Huh?
Coming to
Yeah.
my room on my table.
That's right.
My money.
You should have played better, Mr. Cranston.
So which phase of Walter White are we in? Is he shaved head by that point? Like super intimidating, kind of scary? Like what season was he?
Oh, no, he wasn't like that yet. This is the first season,
Oh, so he hadn't gone all
and
crazy.
we were only on like episode 5 or something, so he
Got
was
it.
still in his,
He's still a high school science
Yeah,
teacher.
exactly.
Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's before that show really blew up, right?
Oh, nobody
'Cause you
knew.
guys-
Yeah, no one knew about it yet.
Yeah, because you would have been nothing would have aired yet probably if you're still shooting episode 5.
Yeah, when the strike happened, nothing had aired yet, and I think our first premiere was like February or January. I think it was January.
2008.
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
that's crazy.
So when we started striking, I remember like meeting people on the picket line, and they would say like, "Oh, what are you working on?" And I would tell them, and they had no idea what Breaking Bad was.
Don't know what that is.
It was like,
They didn't know enough to suck up to you yet.
thank God. That would have been super annoying. I mean, other people are like, "Oh, it's so great when people, treat you like a rock star." And I'm like, "No, I don't want that. Like, I don't want people treating me any different than anyone, Like, it's awkward."
I want that.
Yeah, I want that too, Patty.
Pretty sure-
So
pretty sure I
if you
want that,
if you ever get
so-
it and you don't want it, you can just give it to me. That'd be fine.
No, I mean,
I'll take it off your hands.
there are some things that I think would be nice, like, being able to go to a restaurant that, is hard to get into or something like that.
Sure.
Like, that would be great. But
And there's a table ready for you,
Yeah.
and somehow somebody picks up your tab.
yeah, or just being able to get into a restaurant that you normally wouldn't be able to get into. That would be cool.
Sure.
But
Yep.
in terms of like having people running up to you and being like fawning all over you, and
Right.
I just don't see anything appealing about that.
Interesting.
I
You clearly enjoyed your childhood. That's all I'm going to say.
Patty's not a narcissist, I think is what we're learning here.
I'm a narcissist.
Oh,
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, we famously, John and I are
Yeah.
narcissists.
Kat and I have been doing a podcast for 3 years that we've never made a dime on.
It's not about the money, it's about the art.
That's right.
Yes,
That's right.
exactly.
That's what we tell ourselves every day.
This is like your poker game. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
this is
Kind
where
of,
you
yeah.
get to hang out.
Honestly, I have thought about doing a podcast of a poker game. I know there are a lot of people who do D&D. That's a podcast, but I think stories around a poker table might be just as interesting. I don't
That
know.
might need to be
Interesting.
heavily edited though, because
It probably
there's a lot
will.
of boring shit too.
It would depend if you were going to highlight the game, like if you actually wanted people to know who had what hand while you're
Oh,
watching.
you gotta do that visually though.
Yeah, probably have to be they call them video podcasts now. I don't know. Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of work.
I wouldn't
I
watch
need to have
that.
a lot prettier friends, I think. I mean, not present
the
company,
fuck?
present company excluded. That's
Oh,
what I'm saying.
whatever, dude. Listen,
My
man,
typi-
we got
my
we got
typical-
the same haircut, so you're fucked too.
My typical poker table has some interesting characters around it. That's all I'm
I
saying.
have no doubt. I think I know most of them.
I think you do. And now they all, that's okay. They don't listen to this anymore.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's okay.
Do you play poker, Kat?
I have played poker, yes.
Okay.
I grew up playing poker. My dad is a poker player, and that was part of our family. our family time was playing poker.
Oh, cool.
Love it.
Well,
He still has a regular game with all of his old buddies from fucking elementary school.
wow.
He still
Wow.
plays poker.
That's pretty sweet.
It's amazing. Yeah. It's pretty
Well,
cool.
I think you and I both need to brush up on our poker.
Okay.
And I think we do need to do a poker game.
Okay.
I love it.
All right.
I mean, I only play No Limit Hold'em, so that's the
Oh,
game.
I played
Wow.
Texas Hold'em. Is that the same thing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Texas Hold'em, No Limit.
Yeah, where you go all in. That's
Yep.
that's when it gets fun.
Oh,
I
yeah.
play Whiskey 3 Jack under the hole, so unless you guys don't play that, I guess we're not playing. So
Oh, I will teach you, or we could play some some stud poker or some some draw. But I definitely, my game is No Limit. Texas
It's
Hold'em.
the most dramatic, you know.
That's why I only play No Limit, because it's like I love to be able to bully people with like whatever I've got on the table.
yeah, that tracks.
No, cat. You got to understand, poker is where I can do that. I've never done that anywhere else in my life. I only can, whatever.
It's all good. I'm sure you're a good poker player. That's why I don't. I'm just gonna give you my money. Beginning
see
of that,
that-
I'll just hand over the money. I'm like, okay.
Do you
have
see
fun.
this chair? I know that people, mistakers cannot see it, but this chair right here,
Yeah.
I won this in a poker tournament
Okay.
in which I knocked off all 9 of the other people at the final table, one of whom was Mr. Belding,
Okay.
who was also the guy who put the poker tournament together. I'm not joking.
I know you're not. Yeah, I think you
Uh-huh.
told us that story. It's a good story.
I might have told that story a couple times. I'll tell it some more. I'm
As
fine
you
with
should.
that.
It's a good fucking story.
Well, I'm not betting my couch on anything.
No, it was an organized professional tournament. It wasn't professional.
He's like, all right, fuck, my fridge. Put my fridge in.
Yeah, I put my fridge on. Yeah. No, these were prizes that were arranged
Okay.
for the. It was a charity event.
I'm betting my cow.
All right.
I also, one of the other guys I
Yeah, I
knocked
like
off of
your
the
cow.
final table was the star of the Knight Rider remake. To give you a time
Oh my
frame.
God.
Times.
Who's gonna step into the Hoff's shoes? right?
Yeah, that's
luck.
not a good idea. Well, we got really off track when we started
We did.
talking about Alicia
Oh, we
Keys.
did?
Yeah, we started talking about Alicia Keys.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, this is your fault.
So, can we get back to the rally story here?
We can go anywhere you
I
want.
would love to.
It's not much of a story. So she played. That was the beginning of it, and then we all marched west. We all marched
Okay.
west down Hollywood Boulevard towards Grauman's Chinese Theater, and it was just like, I mean, so many people came, and everyone's wearing these red shirts, the red WGA shirts, and so it was just like this sea of red, like moving down,
Love it.
Hollywood Boulevard, like in a big herd, and you've been on Hollywood Boulevard. There are characters walking around, and when I say characters, like, I sometimes mean literal characters. So there are people who are impersonate like comic book
Yeah, Superman.
superheroes.
Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so the one that we ran into that day was some guy who was dressed as Jack Sparrow.
Oh, yeah.
And he looked
Oh, yeah.
pretty damn good. Like, he had the hair, he had the eyeliner. He looked just like Johnny Depp in that movie.
I know exactly who you're talking about because I lived.
Oh, you
right
you
there.
seen that dude?
Oh yeah, that guy. And
Oh.
then they had him on some lookalike show, but he was not good at pretending to be. He looked exactly like Johnny Depp,
Right.
but he could not do the voice or act like him at all.
Right.
Got it.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So maybe this was the same guy, but like, I mean, I'm sure there's been more than one. But this guy, he was there with this woman who was dressed as like a wench, I guess, and and so the two of them started walking along with us when they saw us, and we ended up just like hanging out with Jack Sparrow and the wench, like
awesome.
like the whole afternoon. And then a few of us like went to the Hooters across from Grauman's and just like ate a bunch of wings. And it was like the best day ever.
That's awesome.
It's like what
Amazing.
it just
Wait, at that time it would have been Hamburger Hamlet, I think.
no, there was a Hooters there.
Oh, there was a Hooters there.
There was a Hooters.
Oh, wait, you're right. There was.
Yes.
You're right.
I think it's
my
gone
bad.
now.
Okay.
But it was
So's Hamburger
yeah,
Hamlet.
it was a pretty good Hooters, as far as Hooters goes.
Sure.
Um, I mean, they had decent wings, but I just remember that it was like one of those days where you just sort of marvel at, like where else in the world could I have a day like this? It's like
Only in
only
Hollywood.
in
baby.
Hollywood, right? It was just so bizarre, but like wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So that was probably the best day. And what else? Do we have time to talk about? I don't know if we should talk about that.
Oh,
Then we don't have time to talk about that.
I mean, we do.
You know what?
I
I'm
mean,
just
we
gonna
do.
I'm
Yeah.
just gonna skip to the last day.
Great.
Okay.
Okay.
So the last day of picketing ended up being February 8th, I think.
Okay.
And everybody kind of knew at this point that the strike was going to end soon because we'd just been hearing about how it was coming to a close, and like people were getting really like scared that because they were running out of money, and and I guess the whole town was sort of freaking out because the Golden Globes were coming up, and
Mhm.
yeah, you know what? I am gonna.
Somebody's got to write
So
those
I'm gonna.
shows.
Well, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you the Golden Globes thing. I was
Okay.
gonna skip over that, but let me go back and tell you what happened with that. So the Golden
Okay.
Globes was gonna happen, and then SAG was like, well, in solidarity with the writers who are striking, we are going to boycott the Golden Globes.
Mhm.
So without actors, you don't have an awards show.
Right.
You know what I mean? So NBC started to get very upset about this because they were going to be airing the Golden Globes, and they didn't want to lose out on their ad revenue. So
For sure.
instead of canceling the whole thing, they started talking about doing a sort of like televised presentation of the awards, not an awards show, but
Mhm.
just sort of like in a studio, just sort of presenting the awards, totally lame. Just
Right.
Yes,
nobody
terrible.
would want to watch this.
Right.
But yeah, so that was like, that was kind of one of the big things that made people realize like this strike is going to have to end soon, because
Right.
people were getting very upset about
That's what you want.
Yeah.
That's why you strike.
Exactly.
And so there was the president of NBC Entertainment at the time was this guy named Ben Silverman. Do you guys know him?
Mm.
Oh, you do?
The name rings true. Yeah.
Yes.
I actually worked with him because
Oh.
before he was
Okay.
the president of NBC, he had his own production company called Reveille, and they
Yep.
produced The Office,
Oh,
Ugly
shit.
Ugly Betty.
Ugly Betty.
They did
yeah.
like a bunch of stuff. Like a lot of stuff was stuff that was sort of adapted from other countries,
Got it.
Mhm.
So big time stuff.
big time stuff. And I had a development deal where I was working with them. And so Ben Silverman and I became very close for like a week.
Yeah.
And we went on this whole like trip to Costa Rica, not Costa Rica, the
Puerto Rico.
the Dominican Republic,
Oh, the
Okay.
DR.
the DR,
Mm-hmm.
because we were working on this show. We were going to be doing a show that Salma Hayek was also involved in as a producer, and she wanted us to go. We were going to adapt this novel that took place in the DR, and so she was like, "Hey, let's go to the DR for research." So we went on this trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd go to the
Okay,
DR with
Salma
Salma Hayek
Hayek.
any day.
This whole story is in my book,
Insist.
by the way.
Oh,
Okay.
awesome.
It's
Oh, we got a sneak peek.
It's a whole chapter.
Nice.
So long story short, you can read about it in my book, but I became very close with Ben over this trip, and there was a flirtation that developed, and
Oh.
and he was like super cool, super charming. I didn't hook up with him because I was like, I was already dating Mike. I was like living with Mike at the time.
Okay.
But Ben used to be really cool. Then he left that job and he became the president of NBC. And then suddenly he went from being somebody who was like a friend to the talent to being a suit. So anyway, so Ben started to become a suit, and it was really sad. And he was actually he was the head of NBC Entertainment when this whole Golden Globes thing happened.
Yeah.
And he said on E! News when they were interviewing him about this, he said he was talking about the whole Golden Globes thing and how the writers, refused to write for this awards show, right? And he said, this is the quote, I wrote it down. Sadly, it feels like the nerdiest, ugliest, meanest kids in the high school are trying to cancel the prom. But NBC wants to keep that prom alive. So that was his way of explaining why they were going to do this stupid televised press conference about the awards.
And he was saying the popular kids are the heroes who are going to keep prom alive, and the nerds are not going to be allowed to cancel it.
Yeah.
Wow, fuck him really hard.
Exactly. So everybody, people were really, really pissed off about this, that he said that. And he became the target of so many picket signs and chants and just like mocking, from every corner.
What a dick.
So, and then one day, shortly after that, I was picketing in front of NBC, and I saw his town car, his black town car, like pulling up to the studio, and he was riding in the back, like he had a driver, and they got up to the gate, and it was just like crawling with picketers. And he saw it, and like suddenly this town car does a U-turn in the middle of Bob Hope Drive and just like peels away. And I think he just got scared. He didn't want to face everyone who was so angry with him.
Sure, he's brave in the papers,
Exactly.
but a coward in the streets.
Coward.
So that was the prelude to the end of the strike. So then after the Golden Globes, that was fucked. But then like the Oscars were coming up, and people were like, oh no, we can't let the Oscars get canceled, because what would be the point of living if we didn't?
What are we even
if
we
didn't watch a bunch of people congratulate themselves on what great jobs they did?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. And I remember like people were so just, the temperature was really rising at this point. And I remember like Joss Whedon, who we now know is a dick.
Right.
Huge dick.
I always knew that, but now everybody knows that. But I remember at the time, he came out and he was saying like, I don't remember exactly what the words he used, but he did give this very rousing sort of call to arms where he was like saying, do not let the pressure to put on this stupid awards show weaken your resolve. We can't, that is so short-sighted, and we need to stand strong, and like fucking nobody listened.
Oh no.
So yeah, it was like pretty clear towards the beginning of February that we were just gonna make a deal, even though it wasn't a great one.
Nope.
And we didn't even talk about what was at stake for that strike.
Well, and I feel like one of the big issues back then is now a huge issue that they're fighting for now, which is the new media.
Yes, exactly. Because we
That's
never
where new media started, was back in 2008.
Exactly. And we never really finished the job. Like the strike ended, but the deal that we got on new media was not good. And the thing is that Mike and I were just talking about this the other day, that it seems like the writer's contract is always like a step behind the technology, so when DVDs were becoming a big thing, we got we got a really bad deal on DVDs. Now it doesn't matter because nobody buys DVDs anymore, but it was sort of like the deals were always lagged, to the technology. So yeah,
that was not an accident.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. So yeah, the thing with new media is that, and this is just anecdotal, but I feel like more people than ever are seeing shows that I wrote because they're available in all of these digital formats. And
Right.
yet the residuals that I get are like smaller than they've ever been before.
Yeah.
So it's so ironic that the more my stuff is being seen, the less I'm getting paid. You know? And I'm
Patty, you should just be happy that your work is being enjoyed by people. You know, it's really selfish to expect to be paid for that.
So selfish, Patty. You want us to cut that out? Should we cut that out?
anyway.
Well, and it sucks because
Right.
This new media thing. If anybody doesn't know, it's streaming.
Yeah,
That's basically
it's
what new media is.
Yeah.
And they won't share their analytics with people, so you don't really know how well your show is doing. But also, I've heard that let's say I binge an episode that you wrote. No, so I binge an episode. I start to binge your show. I start with an episode before one that you wrote, and get the end of the episode. Like, oh, who wants to see credits? Why don't you start the next episode? If you view the episode that way without going back and restarting and choosing the episode, you don't get residuals for that. That doesn't count as your episode.
Wow.
Oh, that's
That is
awful.
Some bullshit.
It's total bullshit.
And the default behavior is to skip it. It
Of
just
course.
automatically
Well, I mean,
and
goes.
it's like, oh, it's just convenient. Oh no, we're trying to fuck writers out of getting residuals.
No,
Amazing. I
and
had no
there
idea.
are certain platforms like Netflix that it's automatic that they will skip to the next episode. You have to do all sorts of weird boo to figure out how to not get it to skip.
Yeah. Or you got 5 seconds. You have 5 seconds to find your remote. I find it the most insulting thing because not only are you fucking people out of their residuals, but it's basically saying, you know what, these credits are not important. You don't need to look at this. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, and obviously, I feel the same way. If we're at a movie, Leah and I both will stay to the very end of the credits, and not because we want to see Captain America.
I was gonna say, if it's a Marvel movie, you don't get credit.
You don't, but because you're paying respect. But also,
Right.
There's music playing. There's intentional things that are still happening while you're in that.
It's
movie.
part of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of the movie, and guess what? Maybe take a fucking second and think about what you just watched before you move on. Because how can you process? It's so hard now to really kind of get a real feel for a show and characters and like, oh wow, I can't remember now when that guy did that. Like, fuck it, you're on to the next. You don't remember what's happened before. Mm-hmm. It's really frustrating. I'm sure as filmmakers and storytellers, the people just don't have a chance to absorb what you're doing. It's really weird.
I absolutely agree with you. I think you're absolutely right. I need to process. I need to take a moment. I want to see the fucking credits.
Yep.
Because those people worked hard.
Yep.
They did. And someone worked hard to make those credits, Patty. That's not easy. Someone's got to fucking spell check every goddamn name.
That is true.
One of the main
before an episode gets delivered, and that person's me, and I hate it. It's the worst part of my job. It's so stupid, but you got to do it because sometimes the fucking shit happens, and then you get in trouble.
Yep. I used to love one of the main houses that did end credits was Fitzgerald was in the name.
Oh, funny.
And so I would stay just to see that sometimes.
Oh my god.
Well, funny enough, the title of my book is called End Credits.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. That's a great title.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about that book?
It's a great title.
When's it coming out, Patty?
It's coming out September 5th.
Yeah.
Boom.
And you can pre-order it.
You can pre-order it
at Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, and at Amazon. Any
wherever books are sold.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So
love it.
Yeah.
And we'll get more stories like the one about Ben Silverman.
Oh, you're gonna get much better stories than that one.
Okay.
I deliberately didn't tell you the whole Ben Silverman story because I don't.
I like it.
I don't want to spoil it.
Cliffhanger.
So if you want to hear about me and Ben Silverman in the DR, partying in the DR, you got to get that.
And Selma Hayek.
Just order that book. Yeah, and Selma Hayek. You got to order that book.
Mm-hmm.
But so what were you talking about? So we knew that the strike was going to end. It's
right.
Beginning of February. There's an energy in the air. that it's like the last day. We kind of knew.
Mm-hmm.
And so my friend Teddy and I, we had made a friend on the picket line. I'm going to call him Pedro. And
was it Pedro Pascal? What?
No, it wasn't. I wish.
Oh, god damn.
Shit, I wish.
I know, right?
He'd have been like 12 or something.
No.
I was gonna say something disgusting, but I won't.
Oh, stop yourself.
You'd still fuck him.
Uh-huh.
No, God, I wasn't gonna be that
I don't know.
disgusting. Jesus.
We'll cut that out too.
That's what I thought. I'm not gonna lie. When you said I almost said something, Kat and I both went to the exact same
No,
place.
I wasn't gonna go that far.
Okay.
I was gonna say he was probably still cute at that age.
I'm sure he was.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
That's what I meant.
Okay, but no, it was not Pedro Pascal.
Okay.
Fair.
So we had this friend, and he had a medical marijuana card, and
Back when you had to
back
have
when you
those.
had to have those, and he had just procured some medical grade sativa.
Oh boy.
And he was like, "Hey, you guys want to, partake?" And we were like, "Hey, it's the fucking last day, right? It's like the last day. We know it's the last day." And this, believe it or not, I had been sober the entire 3 months. I mean, not like I was sober every time I picketed.
Okay.
Right.
And
Okay.
and I don't know why, because it makes total sense that you would want to be stoned for picketing, because it would make it a lot more interesting. But but for whatever reason, we never thought about doing it until the very last day. So we were like, yeah, let's do it. So we crossed the street over to a mobile station. And this is where I used to go to the bathroom when I was picketing, because you couldn't like go inside the studio. So I would go over there, and I had already checked out this bathroom many times. And I was like, okay, it's one of those gas station bathrooms where it's a one person stall and you can deadbolt the door. So I was like, perfect, we'll go in there. So the three of us go into this bathroom at the mobile station. We deadbolt the door and we just hotbox it, like
Nice.
in this bathroom. And by the time we came out, it was like a Cheech and Chong movie, like where the smoke just sort of rolled out.
That's so good.
And
I want to see this in slow motion with the three of you just.
It's really oh, it's bright. Wow.
Yep.
so we come out and we go back to the mini mart part of it to give back the key to the attendant. And we give him back the key, and then we're like, oh God, we're so thirsty, we're so hungry. So we're shopping for snacks and drinks and stuff. And as I'm like looking for a beverage, I hear this woman at the counter saying to the clerk, "Excuse me, can I get the key to the restroom?"
And a contact high?
This is like minutes after we had left a giant cloud of pot smoke in there. So I'm like,
Oh boy.
it took me a minute because I was so stoned that my mind was not working well. But it took me a minute, but I finally realized, oh shit, this woman is going to open that door and get hit with this like gigantic cloud of pot smoke. And we're going to get in trouble because like the guy knew that we were in there before her. So I'm like, oh shit, we got.
This is very stoned paranoia.
Was he going to
thinking.
come chase you down or something?
Right.
Well, I mean, we shouldn't have been in there smoking weed in his bathroom.
Okay. All right.
I mean, there was a medical card involved. Clearly,
That's true.
There needed to be some. Somebody needed their medicine.
Anyway, I was like, okay, oh shit, I got to get out of here. So I'm like looking around for Teddy and Pedro, and they're nowhere to be found. I'm like, where the hell did they go? And I look out the door, and they're like halfway down the parking lot, like
they ditched you,
running and laughing. They fucking they fucking ditched me at the gas station, and I'm like running after them, going, wait.
Teddy, Pedro, wait.
And then the three of us just died laughing.
That's awesome.
And so we head back to the picket line, and we're walking back and forth. And then the president of the WGA shows up because he was going around to all the picket lines visiting. And
Sure.
this is like the only time we ever saw him.
Of course.
I mean, like on a picket line. And so he
Mhm.
shows up and it's like, oh, great. Like the one time he shows up, we're like
Of course.
totally baked. So we go up to him and we're like saying hi and taking pictures with him, like selfies and stuff. And it's like, I want to see these pictures because I'm sure my eyes are totally red. So then, you know what? I don't know if I want to tell that story.
Oh,
Oh.
that's interesting.
I don't know. Do we have time?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't happen very often. When Patty says no.
Mm-hmm. Well, is it in the book? Is that a?
It's not in the book. It's in the bonus content for the book.
Oh,
So here's
okay.
here's one of the cool things about
Okay.
the book is
Yeah.
that my publisher is doing this really innovative thing where on the back of every book that they publish, there's a little QR code. And if you point your camera at the QR code, it will bring you to a bunch of like bonus content, sort of like
Okay.
the DVD extras kind of thing. So you get to
Mhm.
see like, interviews with the author, like a Q&A, unpublished excerpts, like stuff like that. So there's
awesome.
going to be
Very
a
cool.
whole lot of stuff for you to enjoy in
Mhm.
addition to the book. And in that, I do tell a couple of strike stories.
Fun.
Mhm.
So I wasn't sure if I was going to share them with you now. How are we doing on time?
We're good on time. I mean, we're
we-
over.
We're-
We're good.
then
Yeah,
you know
we have
what?
Meaning like
plenty.
Let's not then.
If you want to just like, end it on the being stoned and
Sure.
and the president of WGA, we can.
Sure, we can end on that. Or I could just give you a little cliffhanger.
I like
The
that.
cliffhanger, if you want to hear about this, you'll have to get my book and
Get the book.
look at the QR content.
Mm-hmm.
But there was another incident that happened that day when we were high on the picket line, and and I ran into one of the actors from 30 something, which was like my favorite show of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And his name was David Clennon, and he was a great character actor who played a like small but really important part in 30 something, like a really sort of just a very strong character that that I loved. And so I met him on the picket line. It was so great because to me, this guy is like total like rock star, and he turned out to be so cool.
Oh, good.
So
awesome.
if you want to read about that, you can check out the QR content on my book, September 5th.
What's that book called again, Patty Lin?
It's called End Credits: How I Broke Up with Hollywood.
Love it.
That.
There's also a little story about Harlan Ellison in there.
Okay.
Strike-related story.
Okay. See, this is good. We're getting a little kind of
I like
scoops
it.
here. A little bit of
Lot of
scoop, a
tie-ins.
little bit of cliffhanger. I like it. I'll tell you what, guys. While we've been recording, we have some breaking news.
Oh.
As of about an hour and 20 minutes ago, according to the AMPTP, which is, of course, the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, which is on one side of the table and WGA is on the other. They released a statement saying negotiations between the AMPTP and the WGA concluded without an agreement today. And the WGA contract expires in about 2.5 hours or so. Is that right? Yeah. And I got a text from a friend who's married to a showrunner.
You're getting your inside content here.
Who would be privy to whatever communication the WGA would be sending out to its members. And she says, strike is happening tomorrow.
Okay.
So I
Nostradamus are us.
Yeah, Nostradamus are us. So I think, this is quite timely. And I think, John, we just fucking put this out on Wednesday.
I think so.
Honestly.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
We'll just kick the one we did last week to a couple weeks, and this is going up on Wednesday. So.
I like it.
breaking news, everybody.
Wow.
Kat's going to have a lot of free time.
You don't have your excuse anymore. When I say, hey, can you come to the beach and hang out? You're going to be like,
Like, I got to wear, no.
This is not going to affect my life at all, except that I'm going to have a lot less awesome content come fall.
That's true. Yeah.
why is that?
That's when TV shows.
TV
going
shows
down.
that aren't going to have new episodes.
Content
and,
for your consumption.
Oh, yeah, no. I will always have content for this podcast.
No, I get what you mean now. Yeah. There's gonna be a lot of shitty reality shows come.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
A lot of sports.
I'm going to get a lot of reading done. It's going to be good.
Some cornhole.
Good thing there's a really good book coming out in September.
Right? End credits.
I mean, come
for How I
on.
Broke Up with Hollywood.
It's
by
like
Patty Lin.
shameless
By Patty Lin.
plugging.
I like it. I love it.
Please. This is the place to do it, Patty.
It is. Tens of people are hearing your voice right now, and some of them might buy your book.
Yeah.
So, yay!
You're welcome. Okay, so there we go. I guess this is so fucking timely, Patty. You're so good. You're very good at this. Thank you for pitching this to us.
Yeah, for sure. You're always there for us when we need some awesome content.
Well, I mean, it's an excuse for me to just chat with my friends.
Yay! Us too.
That's nice.
All right, Patty Lin, thank you so much for being on the show. Would you like to lead us in our signature sign-off on the My Mistake podcast?
Oh, you mean the thing about fucking Mike Pence?
Yes, that thing. The thing where we say fuck Mike Pence? Yes.
Yes.
You want to lead us on that?
Yes. Fuck Mike Pence.
Fuck Mike Pence.
Yeah, fuck Mike Pence.
Yep.
Well, should we
Let's do it. Let's jump into it.
Yeah, do your intro and stuff, your banter.
Oh, thank you, Patty.
Oh, okay. Is it any other notes?
You told me
Any
to
other
take
notes,
the
Patty?
lead. You told me to take the lead. I'm now
That's
producing
true.
you.
That's true.
Please produce us. Holy
Nice.
shit. That would be
Nice.
amazing.
Hi, Kat.
Oh, I may lose the thread. I'm
That's
sorry.
okay.
I
No,
just
that's
talked
okay.
over your intro.
No, this is great.